Welcome to the BVTV Network, coming to you from the UK studios of BizVision. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. This is episode 2 in the BVTV Save Your Asks Trilogy with best-selling author Chris Tuff. Hello again, Chris.
Hi, Malcolm. I'm excited.
Well, we better just qualify from where you are. You're in one of my favorite cities, which is
Atlanta. And I'm wearing the new Atlanta United kit, which I got at the game 2 weeks ago. So I am repping.
Right. Well, I've on the wall behind me, I've got that still that I brought back from Atlanta of Gone with the Wind. You know, that one where he didn't say, frankly, I don't give a damn, but never mind. Chris, there probably has to come a time when a business connection becomes a customer. Now, I think too many business people rush at this without having given it time to build trust, confidence, and show synergy. How do we go about mastering what you call the art of the ask?
So everyone needs to recognize where they live on what I call the ask continuum. All of us are, for whatever reason, we will either, the ask comes really easy to us and we can easily become what I dub an ask hole. Those are the people that go in for the ask too early, or they go in for 3 asks in a row. It's the people that the ask is very easy for them. On the other side of the continuum, which, Malcolm, that's where I live, is we tend to let the ask pass us by. And what that means is that we are so obsessed with the relationship that we forget that opportune moment to actually go in for the sale, and we don't capitalize on it. And so no matter where we are on that, we all have work to do to move to that middle ground. And that's what I talk about.
Yeah. That finding let's meet in the middle is that you talk about in your book is so important. And I must admit, you know, of all we'll tell everybody, shouldn't we, that you are my sixth interview since March 2020. But, you know, hey, listen, we go for it, don't we? But, you know, find in the middle is not easy, is it?
No, it's not. And one of my favorite tactics, if you are one of those people, if you're an asshole, you need to double check yourself, right? And if you ask some of the people that are close to you, hey, am I an asshole? It's been amazing to me because people are now reaching out to me. They're like, Chris, I'm so sorry. I've now, after reading your book, I've recognized the fact that I'm kind of an asshole and I apologize for that. So check yourself on that. If you're someone that lets the ask pass them by, Malcolm, one of my favorite tactics is what I call masking your asking your dream. And I first started this as I was writing the book. I was interviewing the who's who, but how I was able to interview the who's who, I was talking to a multi-billionaire, Jason Trotwine, who had just sold his veterinary clinics for $2.8 billion. And it was towards the end of this Zoom in the middle of the pandemic that I said, Jason, I'm about to practice one of my favorite tactics. Are you ready? He goes, I'm ready. And it's called masking your asking your dream. And so here I go, Jason. It is my dream to create the handbook, whether you just graduated from college or you're a 40-year-old sales guy that just feels uninspired. I want to create the handbook to make you a better networker and salesperson, but also to make it a lot more fulfilling along the way. Who in your network, Jason, do I have to talk to? All of a sudden, Jason lit up. And here's a guy who is he keeps his network super close. He goes, Chris, have you ever heard of the pro surfer Raymana? And I was like, I think I have. He goes, Chris, Raymana is the greatest connector of billionaires on this earth because his currency is surfing. He's the guy that actually 4 minutes into our relationship 9 years ago, he forged a relationship with me that is unbreakable because he was towing me into a wave and I was on the back of his jet ski and he put his hand in my heart, looked into my eyes. He said, I love you, brother. And he pushed me off into the wave. And ever since then, we have a bond that is unbreakable. And what was so neat was I was like, of course, I'd love to talk to Raymana. It was 24 hours later. I looked at my phone and it said French Polynesia on it. And that was when I was like, oh my gosh, it's Raymana. And anyone that reads the book will see Raymana is the first story I talk about in the book.
Yeah, well, people need to make certain that they watch episode 3 because we're going to be talking about moving higher up in the league. But let's just go back to the art of the ask. How do you know when you've gone the wrong way, when you've gone too far? when you've missed the middle?
So here's every single one of us, no matter what your relationship is, you have one ask in you. Okay. And I say in the book that you've got to give 30 gives before you go in for that ask. Right. And so know that you have one ask. And as an author, instinct, or what everyone teaches you is, oh, you got to ask everyone for your reviews on Amazon. You'll see in the endorsement section of my book, I say, I didn't get any endorsements for this book from all of my well-known friends because I am saving my ask because I only have one of those for each person. And so when you approach it with that mentality, it shifts your perspective on things.
Yes, that's really true. Really true. It's resonating even further. Now, the other thing that I want to squeeze in this episode, if we can, is the importance of authenticity, because there's too much glibness around it, in my mind, and gimmicky and false promises. Trust is important, isn't it?
100%. And Malcolm, here's been that is the biggest surprise now that I'm 2 weeks into publishing this thing. The feedback's coming in. And one of the biggest surprises that I've had from some of these incredible leaders in my network that I've sent the book to, or I've given it to them, because I'm not asking them to buy it. I'm giving it to them because I don't want to waste my ask with them. Right. And it has been, Chris, what's astounding to me is how you hit upon this theme of authenticity. And what it seems to me is that a byproduct of practicing a lot of these things actually create more authentic connections, but also authenticity within the leaders themselves. And that's where I was like, oh my gosh, that's because in book writing, they say you got to sell them what they want and then you give them what they need. What I'm giving people is this idea of living a more authentic life by knowing yourself a little bit better. What are those things that drive you as a human? And then what is that thing that you get paid for? And let's start blurring that to actually create a more authentic connection with everyone around you. And it'll also be a lot more fun along the way.
Thanks, Chris. Now, let's give viewers and listeners details of your URL, your website address, which, as I keep saying, it's a lovely one, and it's on the screen behind me, viewers. But for listeners, let me spell it out. All the W's dot Chris, CHRIS, Tuff, TUFF, Chris Tuff .me, M-E. Chris's book is called Save Your Asks, Evolve Your Network and Currencies, Grow Your Influence, Triple Your Business, and it's published by Panther Press. Coming up soon is episode 3, the final one, sadly, in this Save Your Ask trilogy with author Chris Tuff. I'm going to ask Chris how we step up our connecting to playing further up the ladder into what may be called the bigger leagues. So are you up for that, Chris?
I'm up for it. Let's do it.